I feel like I'm in a threesome with a bag over my head. That's what I feel like right now. Great.
And this is Gaytriarchs. So last night, my husband and I, we got a babysitter because we had to go to kindergarten orientation.
Oh, little buddies growing up.
It is, it is weird. It is for sure not at, like, I have never been the it's happening fast person. As you know, it's excruciatingly slow. And I don't understand when people say it goes so fast.
Right.
And maybe I will on the other end. But it was the first time I went, oh, well, he's a baby. He can't go here. This is a school with like
right.
doors and a principal and and homework. And there's they gave us a
and
list
curriculum
and buses and all the things. And so it was really strange to be there. It's also the thing that you and I and every other gay parent go through, which is like you immediately scan the room for friendly people, not friendly people, other gay people, not gay people. And of course, we were the only gay dads in the room. We were
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That kind of surprises me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in a super gay daddy area. There are other gay dads and other gay families in our area, but they don't have kids going into our kindergarten this year. But it was really a strange experience because these are the kids that conceivably could grow up with him that he's going to become friends with. Yeah. Also, the principal of the school is like hot ?
Ooh.
And so I was like, oh, that's a new wrench you're throwing this in. Am I going to have to start sleeping with my kid's principal? Which would be very strange. But it was a really there's no like real funny story here, but it was like a weird like rite of passage that I'm going through. That I'm going through that he will eventually go through and he'll be fine or whatever. But it was really fucking weird to be in this room and be like, oh yeah, we were in the gymnasium and there was a little stage where I imagine there'll be plays someday and the classrooms and it's crazy.
It's awesome. This is reminding me of my days going back and doing that, and that you had to get a babysitter for it, which is, I don't know, somehow ironic and stupid that you had to pay to go to this thing, essentially. Did you make it into a date night or anything? Did you go out for a
kind of? I mean, listen, we went to the Dairy Queen afterwards, and I got I got a medium frosted animal cookie blizzard. But they said they do this with just parents because they want to be able to speak candidly about things and talk about school safety and all that kind of stuff. But but what's really fucked up is literally the same day we went to a park and we went to somebody's birthday party, and it was a kid's birthday party. And so we were at the park across the street for a while, and then we went over to this birthday party. And so we're at the park across the street. So my son's name is Emmett, and it is like you've heard of the name, but it's not a super overused name at the moment. And I've never met any other kids his age named Emmett. And so, of course, I wear that as a stupid badge of honor because all parents our age love a unique name.
Yes,
we love something that nobody else has, and we're all trying to do the same thing.
I'm familiar.
Then everyone else comes and has the same name. But I've been kind of proud of it. And then we're at the park and I hear, Emmett, come over here. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? It was a girl's voice. I look over there and I was like, why is she talking to my son? It's so weird. And I look over at him, I'm looking at her, and this other little boy runs to him.
That asshole.
Her. And I was like, oh, and I like sneak over there. And then she's like, Emmett, drop that. And I was like, oh, your name is Emmett. I was like, and so I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And so like, whatever. So then we go to the birthday party, which is at a zoo, and we're walking through the zoo, and then there's a different fucking kid, and they're like, hey, Emmett, come over here. And I went, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. I will not have two other Emmets in my vicinity in the same day. So we're changing his name.
I'm glad that you have reached that realization before. I mean, you can change his kindergarten registration now, and that's going to be a lot more helpful, so you don't have to do it when he's in like fourth grade, because that would be really confusing.
I have to be different. Like if another gay dad came in with a kid named Emmett, I would light myself on fire. I'm like,
hold my hoops. Right.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have you already brainstormed the new names? Is it going to be like, I don't know, Sylvester or Cosmo?
I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to do it by like his name can't be written; it can only be performed as like by a yellow bellied bird or something. So something really easy.
You yellow bellied bird. So when after COVID, when my kids started at a new school, my son's name is Colton, which is, I would I would argue a titch more unique even than Emmett. Not that I'm going to one up you or anything, but he goes to school at a completely new school, very small school in comparison, comes home and we say, oh, so did you make new friends today? He said, yep, Colton. We're like, well, right. But did you make any new friends? Yeah. His name's Colton. We're like, wait,
like, motherfucker.
What? Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, they're still in school today. And then we were kind of like, well, which one's going to be nicknamed? Which one has to have like the last name after it, and the jury's still out on that, frankly. So unrelated to any of this, we hit a milestone just today when my daughter is starting to wake up with an alarm. And I admit that she is probably, I don't know, she's 12. And so I was probably waking up with my own alarm before, not having my parents wake me up. But I really love waking her up and being the one to, like turn on the light and open the window shades and ask her if she had any dreams and what does she want for breakfast. And she's been for a while pushing away and being like, you know what? I just want an alarm. You know what? And I'm like, yeah, just dismissively like, nah, we're not going to do that. She definitely wants an alarm. Now, this is partly because she wants to sleep with her phone in her room. And let me tell you, parents out there, that is my number one. Absolutely no way are you sleeping with your phone in your room. No, not until you're 18. And then you can go make your own terrible decisions. But anyway, in the midst of her pulling away, which is what she's supposed to do, this morning she came down. I was already making her breakfast, just, working my ass off for her. I said, hey, can I have a hug? She said, no, I don't feel like hugging today. And I thought, this is the beginning of the end. This is it. She's never going to hug me again. And it's different from a 4-year-old being like, Daddy, I don't love you anymore. And you're like, okay, well, whatever. Here's your, grilled cheese sandwich. This is a preteen being like, yeah, I don't want to touch you anymore.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's normal. It's a biological response, and it's supposed to happen. And it's still, I'm sure, it feels fucking heartbreaking.
Well, it's not yet heartbreaking. It's almost, I would just say it's kind of depressing to think. It reminds me of my mom. I remember her so frequently, especially when I was in high school, I think it was high school, her saying, studies show that every human being needs to be hugged 17 times a day. And even in the 90s, I'm like, who the fuck has time for that?
Did she read that in like Chicken Soup for the Soul?
She did. Reader's Digest or whatever. But and now I'm like, oh my God, I am my mom. And I want my fucking 17 hugs a day, My son already kind of does the lean hug. There's no arms around me, He just like leans into me. And I'm like, I'll take it. Now my daughter's just like, no, you're disgusting. You're too cringe.
I don't want to give that up because I'm like, my love language is touch. And like when my son or even my daughter gives me that like monkey hug where they wrap their legs around you and they just like, and it's like, it like just refills my spirit meter. And with that going away, not interesting.
Just you wait. You wait.
Here we go. You know what we don't have to wait for?
Tell me.
Our top 3 list.
Woohoo!
Gaytriarchs top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
This week is what are the top 3 tiny great things?
Oh, okay.
Now, like a lot of things we do on this show, it can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
and
I have a
way
family.
You do it is absolutely the correct way.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I do need that validation because I know we're going to go in completely different directions.
Totally, and even I went into 2 totally different directions within my list.
Okay,
so I will get into it. So, in number 3, Dippin' Dots.
Okay.
Do you know what Dippin' Dots are?
Yes, I sure do.
If you don't know what they're like tiny little balls of ice cream that are like frozen beyond belief, and then you kind of scoop them up and they like kind of melt in your mouth. It's like eating marbles that turn into ice cream. It's very strange experience that it's at every single theme park you've ever been.
Yeah, theme park. And they're really overpriced. They're really prepackaged because this is not something that you scoop. Didn't we used to call it astronaut ice cream though? Something like that?
No, astronaut ice cream is like the freeze-dried ice cream.
Yeah, well, equally disgusting. Well, no, Dippin' Dots.
No, this is at least real ice cream. Yeah. It's creamy and real, but it's just like little balls of it.
I
like little balls.
So speaking of number 2, little balls.
Number 2 for me, it's adjacent to Dippin' Dots, but I think it's its own category. Sprinkles. How great when you add sprinkles to anything, right? Sprinkles are nothing. They're not nutritionally needed. They're just a little bit of sugar and cornstarch. But man, vanilla ice cream, but then vanilla ice cream with some rainbow sprinkles on it. That is a tiny, great thing. And for number one, I'm going to kind of go away from the literal tiny thing, and I'm going to go into like the small lift, but big thing. And for me, number one, just staring into the night sky. It's a tiny thing. You're just laying there. You're not doing anything. But something about looking at the stars at night and just like letting your mind wander is so fucking great. And so that's my number one.
That was the most
Gavin
set of.
I know. You better have like dicks or something on your list to balance.
Well, you talked about tiny balls for a second.
That's true.
But then
That's
inadvertently.
Yeah.
Okay, for number 3 for me, travel size. I just like buying travel size shit. It's very satisfying. It's definitely in contrast to my environmental nature, but it's very satisfying because you buy travel size stuff and you're like, I'm going somewhere, and that's always exciting. So I like travel size stuff. Number 2, Starbucks short.
Well, I don't even know if I know what that is.
Really? They don't advertise it. You have to know to ask for it, but you can get a short-sized cup at Starbucks. It's smaller than a tall. And so often I think, you know what? I'm disgusted by their prices. I'm disgusted by their upsizing of absolutely everything. Once in a while, I don't want a full cup of coffee. I just want a short. And even though it probably costs 5 cents less than a tall, so I should just upgrade, which is what their entire capitalist ploy is, I kind of feel like I'm sticking it to the man by ordering a short. Yeah, Starbucks short. I don't think they do iced. I don't think they do cold shorts, but you can get a short cappuccino. You can get a short coffee. You can get a short. I'm so proud that I'm bringing something new to you.
Yeah.
Finally, even though I get so much shit for it all the time, my number one is my mini iPhone.
Oh, I have an iPhone mini. I have an iPhone mini. I love it.
I appreciate having something that doesn't ruin my line in my jeans. I like having a little phone. That is my number one tiny great thing. So for next week, let's just go ahead and pivot. I'm going to take your little thing and make it a big thing, okay? Tell me about great big things.
So our next guests are 2 Hollywood types who met in marching band. Now, when they weren't tickling their piccolos or Frenching each other's horns, they were busy making a new movie out now called The Mattachine Family, about a gay couple deciding whether or not to have another kid after their foster kid returns to their birth mother. And how art often imitates life, they are also gay dads with a 2-year-old daughter via surrogacy. Clash your cymbals and twirl your batons for Andy and Danny Vallentine.
Hey guys!
Welcome, guys!
Oh, thank you for having me. The wordplay on those marching band stuff. Good, very well.
Guys, this is high level. We're at smart list level podcasting right now, so you know what I mean. You got to swoop in with the big stuff. And this is our first 4G, by the way.
Yeah.
We were talking about before we started recording our first foursome. So
yeah, because this is an audio medium for those listener out there. There are 4 screens going right now, and we love it. So you guys are here because you wrote a big gay movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your big gay movie?
Sure. So it's called The Mattachine Family. We had been trying to make it for many years in LA, and it finally happened. It's a story about a gay couple and their journey to become parents. The movie is like, it parallels a little bit of our own life. You know, Danny, we've been together for a while. Dan, how long? We've been together for many years. Our 10-year anniversary is in October. And so
you had a little snarl when you said that, Andy. You were a little like, how long have we been together?
I always forget the years. I don't know. Like once you get past a few years, you just forget. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, Danny very much, wanted a child right off the bat after we got married. All of our friends, especially our friends back in Michigan, were having kids. And I was definitely more like, oh, we got to make a movie first. Or I got to make a movie. I got to do all these things in my career first. And so kind of that drew that was the inspiration that kind of started the movie. And we're so excited. It's finally out now on Apple and Amazon. You can go buy it. And it has some really great actors in it. Nico Tortorella from Younger, Juan Pablo Pache from Fuller House, and then Emily Hampshire from Schitt's Creek.
There's a lot of faces that pop up and you say, oh my gosh, I didn't know they were going to be in here. So yeah, it's definitely a who's who. It's fantastic.
So it's a good,
wait.
Queer cast. So
I need you to back up. Yeah. You went from Michigan marching band to suddenly we're going to make movies in LA.
Yeah.
I mean, did you always, while you were playing instruments, were you also planning on being movie makers? Both of you as well?
Andy for sure was. Andy was well known in the marching band as like the video guy. He in fact once made like this is a big deal for the mascot Sparty in Michigan State. Andy got to do like this like Sparty intro video that played on Spartan Stadium to like 80,000 people.
Damn, that's a big deal.
He was kind of like a little wonderkind in terms of like the video community in Michigan State.
Was that like Sparty's backstory? Like, how did Sparty become
like the origin film?
The origin film, right?
It was like a pump up video. He was like getting ready,
right?
You know, so I guess I had always done it. But Danny, you always wrote in college, like you always wrote stories and short stories and short.
Yeah, I didn't really see myself as a screenwriter until I moved here, but that was something that I picked up, and I was like, oh, I guess if I'm going to be a writer in LA, I might as well do screenwriting.
Now those.
And it's super easy to do, right?
Yeah,
you just write a script and then people make it. Hollywood is easy.
The millions of screenwriters who listen to this podcast undoubtedly all just collectively sighed because they're like, oh, if only it were that fucking easy.
Well, it's funny when you were, Andy, when you were talking about like, well, I wanted to, make a movie first before we had kids. I was like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? It could take you 150 years before you make a movie in Hollywood. And also, I love that point of view of like, before you're a parent, you're like, well, I want to make sure I'm set up and ready to be a parent. And as we all know in this call, you are never ready to be a parent, especially after you've had a kid. You're like, wait a minute, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
And so wait, when you guys started dating and you guys were talking about kids, did you know kind of how you wanted to become dads, or was that like a future conversation? Because I know you ended up doing surrogacy, but your characters in your film did foster to adopt, or I guess just fostering.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
I would say actually when we were dating, I don't think we talked about really having kids. I think, and that's something that we talk about, the character Thomas talks about in the movie, is that there's like, for me at least, I didn't really think fatherhood didn't seem like an attainable goal. Like even if I was like in a relationship, I didn't really see like the pathway to it. And I didn't really have like the model in Michigan. Certainly I didn't really have models for how that would play out or happen. So it wasn't until we kind of like, we weren't even allowed to get married when we started dating. So that wasn't even like a possibility either. Mm-hmm. So, as society progressed and then also when we got married, that's part of the discussion. We were like, okay, well now we see like a path forward, maybe like how we could have children. And the pathway, I think, and again, the movie kind of parallels this discussion as well. Like Thomas goes through and like he fosters with Oscar. But then he kind of explores, like he goes and sees like surrogacy or people who are kind of like forming families with like their lesbian friends. Mm-hmm. And those are kind of, it parallels kind of our path to like exploring different options as well before we kind of arrived at surrogacy.
So many universal themes of parenthood and how people become parents are all smashed into the movie very efficiently. Again, kudos. It's excellent.
And I think one of my favorite parts of the movie is that there is a really interesting use of nonlinear storytelling, which I think sounds like a buzzy word. Yeah. But if you watch the movie and know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of things that happened in the past and will happen in the future. And you kind of dance around in a way that feels atypical, but I never felt like I was lost. There was never a time where I was like, when are we? It always seemed very clear, and it kept the ball moving. Sometimes in these like independent dramas, there's there can kind of feel like a lag of like momentum. Yeah. And when you jumped around a little bit, it kept that going in a really nice way. So everyone go out there on Apple TV. We talked to Andy yesterday about, you're like, oh, it just popped up on Apple TV. So exciting. So everyone go out there and download it. It's a great movie. So tell us, so now you're parents, tell us about the process of when you decided to become parents and you're like, we're going to do surrogacy. How did it go? Easy, right? Easy and cheap.
It was so easy. Yeah. We sent an email and then the baby came the next day.
Yeah, wrapped in a Tiffany's box and really nice. Yeah.
Y'all, that could be the future, though. By the way, that is so post-apocalyptic. But there might be just an email baby,
just a Jeff Bezos baby arriving. Yeah, totally.
That's very true. No, it took a long time. I mean, once we decided to have a child, it was like navigating like and we wanted to do surrogacy. It was like navigating that whole process, which is like not super easy in terms of like, where do you go for an IVF doctor? Where do you get an egg from? Where do you go and find a surrogate? And so once we like kind of landed on our agency, and then they kind of do all of those things, which was a bonus. It took 11, I don't know, it took over a year, right, before Florence was born. And then Florence was actually born a month after the movie wrapped filming. So
oh wow,
it was like the craziest fucking like few months of our lives, where it was like we worked so hard for this movie, and then in the back of our minds we're like, holy shit, our surrogate is pregnant, she's showing, there's a baby coming. And then it was like a few weeks off after the movie, and then literally we were dads. So
I mean, thank goodness she didn't come a month early, huh? Because that is very possible. And then you would have really understood what a shit show is, the definition of.
Yep. Yeah.
I can't imagine you being in post with a fucking infant. Like, how do you even do that?
It took a long time. And Mattachine, it's like indie LGBTQ drama. So it's not like we have all of this kind of money that's like, I have a post team working on the film, and then I get to go in and review the cut. It was like, we had budget for an editor for 2 months. And so like John, our editor, started in January and was there 2 months. And I'm like, not getting great sleep. I'm like, I'm still working as well. Danny was with Florence at home. But then like after those 2 months, it was like the movie was like passed off to me. And so then I had to like finish editing it, and so it just was like, being a dad, editing a movie. And then it's like, it's also, a movie, not to like talk so much about the movie, but it's like,
hey, that's why you're here. It's all right.
I know, but it's like, I'm not, I had made short films and I had made music videos and commercials, but I wasn't like an expert in making a movie. Like I had never done that before. I had done all of these elements and these little pieces that like you do, that you learn, and then you can put together to make the movie. But like, once I was like in the edit bay, I was like, I don't necessarily know exactly what I'm doing. So like, David, I appreciate what you said that about the linear the story, because that was a huge thing where I like didn't know if it was working. I was like, do I put cards up that say 2 months before or 3 years before? Do I do all these? No. Like, these are all like, for a filmmaker, for a first time filmmaker, it's like very much, it's like kind of learning on the job of like how you do it, right? So
I don't think people understand. I work on the television side, but it's still the same where like you maybe write a great script, but there's 3 versions of everything. There's like the script you wrote, right? The movie you shot, and the movie you edited. And like things like that, it sounds like such a small thing. Like, are we doing supers? Are we doing title cards? Or am I doing it linearly? Like, it's the same footage, but that could have a massive impact.
Yeah.
And if your brain is drained from being like, I'm up 10 times in the middle of the night with this child, that I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And also I don't know what I'm doing at work, and I'm just filled with all this self-doubt. Yeah. That could have made it, you could have chosen to do title cards or told it just in a chronological order. And it might have sunk the movie. It might have made it a fucking huge hit. You just never know.
Yeah.
But the fact that you were doing all of that at the same time, and you have a 2-year-old that's still alive and happy, and you have a great movie. Kudos to you guys.
Thanks.
You did it.
Thanks. Thank you.
There were many times, and Andy would come home after being like late in the office with the movie, and he'd be like, "Your fucking script, Danny." He would have like re-edited it so it was linear, and then he'd be like, "It didn't work, and I have to scrap that whole thing."
Oh wow!
But it is really funny. It is like in this, you read it and you have like the slug lines that say like it's the past, and but like when you has to go visual, you're like, oh, now it's not so clear. And Andy had to solve all those problems in the post.
And are we doing like some sort of like are we doing some sort of filter to represent the past? Are we just doing it cleanly? Are we doing some sort of musical transition? All of that stuff can have a huge effect on your footage that is always the same. And it's like, and you just don't know. I don't think the best people know. I think they have maybe a better intuition on what could work and what couldn't. But I think we all kind of just go, I think that one. Yeah. And then it either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So that begs the question also, what is your working relationship like? I mean, it's not like you're co-directing, but you may have a different vision for the outcome or the execution. How do you guys navigate that?
It was a learning process, I would say. Like we I was primarily like writing it, but we worked on the story together. So in the process of like writing it initially, it was really hard because I was a new writer and we have this like personal relationship, and then I would take the feedback really personally, and then we'd fight and we'd go in separate rooms, and then and it was something of navigating that all along the process of like Andy had to do like make it happen, and I would write something and he'd be like, that can't happen, and I'd be like, but I'm attached to it. The biggest one is some of the song Moon Rivers in the movie, and Andy was like, you need to put a new song in there, and I was like, absolutely not. And I'd stomp in the room and slam the door. I'd be like, there's no other.
Is that because it was expensive?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yes. Yeah. It's great, right? Really? Moon River's great. And so it was, it was very much, I think they originally came back to us and they were like, yeah, you can have it for $200,000. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not a reality.
Damn.
That's not going to happen. And then luckily it's in the movie, our music, it's short though. It's like, it has to be under a minute. And so we got that lower. And so, and then it was our music supervisor. Thank God she worked on Stranger Things. And so like she had all this like Netflix money that she was throwing people. So they like negotiated and we got way cheaper. So, but it was during that time. I remember Danny just was sobbing when I was like, we can't have Moon River. Sorry, baby. Like, it's just not going to happen. And then we got it. So kudos to our music soup for that.
Made it work.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know. Do you remember how much you got it for? Tell us.
It was $22,000.
Let's do it, Gavin. Let's have Moon River on this episode. Yeah, we can afford that. We can afford that.
And
for like 6 seconds of music.
And Moon River was probably it is, I think, the most expensive line item in the entire movie. Was that?
Yeah,
but totally worth it, Danny.
Yeah.
Totally worth it, Danny.
It was.
But it's hard to divorce yourself from those, like, those are those little magical moments when you're writing a movie that, like, are so hard. I mean, you have to kill your darlings, right? But sometimes those, because you use it as, I wouldn't say a metaphor, but it's like a through line in the movie. It's sung multiple times by multiple people, different things. And so you just, like, you're like, if that goes away, then what do I, you know what I mean? Just like, what do I have? So I get both of your sides, like we can't afford $200,000 and also like, but oh my God.
But there was also, like, there's a moment right in the movie where they go to this like shitty motel and they're supposed to be going to like a very nice Airbnb. And when we were like figuring out how filming, I was like, well, we can't afford a nice Airbnb up in like Arrowhead or something. Like I was like, we need to think of something creative. And so we made it a shitty motel, and like, Danny threw in like a bed bugs joke, and that's why we're there, So it's just, it's independent filmmaking. It's like it's tough.
I really did watching Andy like direct. I think really helped me recognize all the things that he was facing, and it became. I think if we were to do this over or do this again with another movie, I would have a different perspective, and I think we have kind of ironed out some of it. But I would tackle some of these challenges like. With excitement to be like, okay, we can write ourselves out of the problem now. Before I was kind of like, this was something I had like held on to for, I wrote the first draft of it in like 2017. So it had been like with me for years and years and years. And so it was really hard to let some things go. But now I think I wouldn't be quite so attached to whatever we were working on, but it was
less crying, babe. You hope less crying.
Yeah.
Well, that all begs the question too. I mean, making independent films, and now obviously your next will be huge, massive feature films. Whether you work together or not, all of this takes improvisation and flexibility and sleep deprivation and meetings on the fly and taking generals, etc. How do you do that with a small child?
I mean, I have a great therapist. It is definitely, we have a partnership, and there are like definitely times that I have to like lean on Danny to be more of like the parent that can help Florence, and because I'm not going to be home until this time on this date, you know what I mean? So it's like still like we haven't like figured it out 100%, especially now that we've hit the like terrible twos. That's been like a it's been hard. It's a little bit of a nightmare. Great 70% of the time. The other 30%, it's like, watch out. She has an opinion and she'll let you know. And, but yeah, I don't know. Daniel.
Also, we have great childcare providers, so
yeah, that's good. That's good acknowledgement there. Shout out for sure.
She's a daycare. Yes. So
isn't it amazing how like this little thing that you have raised and protected and coddled and hugged and kissed and fed and wiped her butthole and all the things can look at you with such disgust and disdain in her eyes because you served her the pancakes that she asked for.
Yeah.
Like it is fucking baffling. You're like, I could throw you in the river right now.
Yeah.
What are you, why are you, like what? And then she just gives no fucks, right?
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think that hits me harder than it does Danny, for sure. I think that it's like, I don't like get personally offended by it, but it is like depressing, right? Like if she is in this like terrible mood and it's like, well, I only have a limited amount of time to spend with you. Like, I wish we were like having fun the next hour. And instead it's like,
Yeah. I think I'm a little more empathetic to when she's having a hard time. I'll just be like, oh, she's having a tough time. And Andy will be like, she's being an asshole. Yeah. Like, I don't really like her right now, and he'll need a break.
Yeah. But you know what? That balance is healthy because sometimes, parenting this has been said many times before. Parenting is such a fucking relay race.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't have it in you and your partner does. And you're just like, take it because I'm going to call it an asshole and I need, and then you recharge and then you come back and then you give them the love or whatever. Yeah. But my poor husband is you, Danny, where he's like, well, she's struggling and let's get to her level, whatever. I'm like, fuck her. You know what I mean? Like I get so frustrated, especially like I am way too sensitive. So like, which is, we're talking about like notes and changes to movies. Like as artists, man, you get the smallest note. Can you have this character come in from the kitchen instead of the dining room? And you're like, well, I guess I can't do anything. Right? You're like, I guess I'm the worst at everything. But my son last night, I was putting him to bed and we were in the bathroom and I told him to brush his teeth, which obviously was the worst thing I could have ever done. And he says, I don't even like you. And I remember thinking, well, then fuck you. And I didn't talk to him the rest of the time we were in the bathroom.
Because who is the juvenile in this story? Absolutely you.
I'm 44 and this 4-year-old just hurt my feelings.
And you're going to give him the silent treatment.
I'm going to give him the silent treatment. And so we go into his bedroom to read books and he can tell. He goes, I'm sorry, Daddy. I was like, okay, you hurt my feelings, but everything's okay. And I remember thinking, I just out negotiated the terrorist. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
but I totally, he said, I don't even like you just because he was trying it on because he's just being a dick. And he was like, but I was like that hurts, bud.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. Why do we even do it?
So you both traveled to Ireland with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Why?
Lesbians, that's why.
See, you know what? They are the source of all the problems, the lesbians.
Our lesbian friends, who we've been friends with for over a decade, got married in Ireland 2 weeks ago. They live down the street from us, so we flew around the world to celebrate them. It was not something that I was a huge fan of.
It sounded like a good idea when we planned it. We were like, "Oh, she'll be great.
She'll run through the fields of clover in a little sundress with the sun kind of getting a little bit of totally.
Which we did do.
Little lens flare moment. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, but it was just we had traveled with her a lot. Our family's in Michigan, so we go back to Michigan often, and we have a ton of siblings with kids there and all that sort of stuff. So we travel a lot on planes, and we also had been to Australia with her last year for a film festival. And so, but it's like that was work, and so we, she was still okay, but now that she's hit the terrible twos, the flight was like a nightmare. It was getting her on that time, screaming in the hotel. Not wanting
there's some dark nights the first couple.
Yeah. A little dark night of the soul. Yeah.
Well, what was the best and the worst of that trip with her?
The worst was the first night where she didn't sleep on the plane on the way over. When she fell asleep at 8 p.m., we were like, oh, thank goodness she's so tired. She's going to sleep all night. Woke up at midnight, ready to go. Was up from midnight until 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
My God. I was trying to get her to sleep, watching, and we're stuck in this little hotel room. It was truly a harrowing night. And it was like, we did pretty good about doing the relay race. Like, okay, I've reached my limit with her. You take her and I need to go recharge for a minute. And then there was some point at 4 a.m. when I think that we were both like, had it.
Like I was looking at flights back to the US. I was so over it. I was like, this is the worst mistake we could have ever made in our lives. To keep our marriage together, we need to fly back to LA tomorrow and screw the wedding. Like we just agree this is terrible. And then, I don't know, I fell asleep or something and then it was fine.
The best we actually did, I think there was a day when we just went on a walk and we found a literal field of clover and we were rolling around in it. We got great photos. She was so happy picking flowers. It was just it wasn't even a special, and that's what the takeaway was. We were like, okay, we don't need to travel with her because she didn't care about any of the touristy things we could have done. She really just had the best time when we were went to a playground, found that clover field, ran around in it. And that was
tourism is pointless with a child. They just want a pool and maybe a field to walk in.
Yeah. I will say it hurt more. My parents were supposed to go with us. So my mom got this tooth infection, so they had to bail. She's fine. But so Danny and I were we had planned some nights out and we were going to go. One of our college friends lives in Dublin. So we were going to go hit it hard, we had a built-in babysitter for a few nights at the wedding. So that it made it just extra kind of it just stung because we were we didn't have that help that we had hoped for, for the trip that we were balancing. So, it was fine. We won't be getting on no international flights with her until, I don't know, later on. So
I think the lesson here is that never trust a lesbian.
No,
you cannot trust them.
You can't.
You shouldn't trust them, and you should not witness their commitments to each other. Truly. But the thing that's so hard to explain to kids at that age, and when you're on a plane, is that there's not an option to leave this plane right now. They cannot fathom that there's not an option, right? My daughter and my son, they both have flown quite a bit, but they still struggle with I want to get off. I'm babe, we're 33,000 feet in the sky. Yeah. Where do you think we're going to go? And they're like, but I want to get off. Yeah. And traveling to Ireland, I cannot imagine.
No, it was rough.
So your daughter, does she think that her dads are cool Hollywood types, or are you just kind of the annoying person who lives in her house?
I think we're the annoying people who live in her house. We were trying to tell her actually the other day, we're like, the movie's dedicated to you. You have a movie that's for you. She was not interested. She didn't really care.
She's like, is Bluey in it? She does make it because I don't give a shit.
Too. She is.
She does?
She does. So she is. There's a scene when Nico is in the where is it? It's the IVF clinic or something. Yeah. And he's gonna go jerk off in a cup. And before
spoiler
that,
alert.
Spoil that. Yeah. Before that though, they're talking about all the influencer gay dads, and then it cuts to a shot of a computer screen, and we see Florence is a hipster baby. So the IVF doctor's look, you can have a fun hipster baby type of thing. So we got hipster.
Yes, the designer baby.
Yeah. So we put that. Yeah. So we took that photo, after the, she was born.
In post.
Well, it's so funny because that is partly why I started this show. That was my only representation of gay dads. Was that pretty designer baby, overly exposed, walking along the surf in their white flannel button downs and no shoes,
or skipping through a field of clover in Ireland.
Clovers with lens flare in Ireland. Yes. That was to me. It was if you're going to be a gay dad, this is it. And then when I became a dad, I was like, where's my lens flare? I don't have any of that. I'm just covered in puke and regret. What is happening here? That scene, by the way, in the movie, very funny. And also, I think you had said real ? Tell us a little bit about that.
That scene. So he goes in to check his sperm count or something, right, in the movie. And so it's taken from my real life experience when I went to go and make a baby.
Do the deed. We're familiar.
Where it was just you go into this kind of, or at least for us, he kind of went into this gross room. They give you I'm sure there's a medical term, but in the movie we say it's a puppy pad. You sit on this pad. Then there's an old VCR with porn.
Yes.
We had literally, it was it was domestic or Asian, and the lady was gave us a remote. She's there's gay in both, so go for it or whatever. And then, there was the bathroom was right next to the donation room, and so someone just had like explosive diarrhea the whole time, you know, and I'm like sitting in there.
So romantic.
I went with Danny, Danny, you went first, but like Danny he went out in the room and he was like 5 feet away. It was just like it's not
it is taking so long. And I heard someone at the door, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, it's just like it's obviously it's so much easier than giving birth, right? Like it is not like a challenge.
Yeah.
It's more of like a comedic thing, you know, that we have to go through, and it's not hard to do it. So but yeah, that was a scene that it was not in the movie originally, and then when that happened to us, I was like, oh, this is like a funny thing that's got to go in, you know. So and Nico also was like kind of going through like IVF. I don't know if they did IVF or the other one, but I guess it was IVF. But it was like he also was kind of going through similar things. So it was a funny thing between both of us that we had to shoot that. So
there is nothing less sexy than that event. Like that is like the unsexiest thing I think I've ever done.
But you know what?
Life.
We all still rise to the occasion because like whatever.
Because we're men and whatever. Wait, Gavin, do you know, you probably haven't listened to this episode, but many, many episodes ago, Gavin told a story about when he did that, they lost his sperm and he had to go again.
No.
They lost it?
And who has who has Gavin's sperm?
Yeah.
Quite a few people in the New York City area. Yeah. But
go back to episode 15 or so and please go mine that.
So you guys are now parents and you're filmmakers. So my question to you is, the question I end every interview with is, what is your favorite part about being a dads? And what is your least favorite part about being dads?
I'd say my favorite part is, especially now that she's like talking a ton, is like hearing her thoughts and like what she's observing and having her share those observations with me and like the things that she remembers and she chooses to like tell me at random times. I just like love seeing her little brain work and her become like a little person. It's really rewarding that like all the work we put in is like creating this special little human. So that's my nice answer. My thing I don't like is bedtime routine. I like every night when I'm like, I'm going to have to then like coerce her to brush her teeth and then coerce her away from the bathroom to go read. And then I have to coerce her not to read 60 books. We can only read 3 books. And then we have to coerce her into the bedroom and then into her bed. And like every like step of the way, I'm like, it is just all those transitions. There's so many transitions and the toddlers she's going to push back against every one of those transitions. And
hells yeah.
Every night when it turns like 5 o'clock and we start dinner, I'm like, here it goes. 2 hours of transitions.
Mm-hmm. Every one of them is a complete surprise to her. Yeah. And you're like, babe, this happens every single fucking night. And everyone is like, I have to brush my teeth now?
Literally. No. We've gotten to that point. It's like blow drying her hair. Still, cries every time. And it's like, baby, it's coming. And then we turn off the blow dryer and she's upset that her hair's wet. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, I'm trying to reason with this terrorist. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Tough to be a 2-year-old for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Andy?
I think my favorite part is like this, like built-in like best friend, you know, like it is just like, there's this new person in your life that you can, you know, share your own life and your own experiences with them. And then it's just like, it's this weird thing where you're, you know, I think a couple times Danny and I have like looked at Florence, or I've looked at Florence and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, this is so like, you haven't left yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, this is somebody who is in our life and will be present, you know, hopefully until, you know, the day that I die. Right. That's like the hope. So it's just like, you know, while it is very hard, you know, to be a parent, it's still like super rewarding. And it's so, you know, it's so meaningful that she is now in our lives. And then it's also, you know, great to see, you know, her with Danny and how she interacts with Danny and all that kind of stuff. So really great. And then my like least favorite part, you know, is I guess like, I don't know, this is not funny. It's like the worry, right? That like something, you know, that we are now the protector of her. So that's always like, I have anxiety and all that kind of stuff. And so like, that's you know, and it's not my dad has it. And I see how it affects my dad with all of his children. And I'm like, that is now me. Right. And so now that feeling of fear or whatever that is never going to go away.
Nope. You wait. It just gets worse.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know,
well then Hey, how about on a lighter note? I'm curious. Here's a segment that I'm now starting to name here. David, make note, is I'll never forget the time when.
I will never forget the time when she was so sick for a few days. She like really hadn't eaten. This was maybe like 9 months ago for like a few days. And then all of a sudden she ate the most pasta I've ever seen her eat. Like more than a normal like adult man. And 1 hour later, she threw that shit up.
Yes, she did.
Like in movie projectile vomit. I was like, there's a special effects guy in here sending this puke out. It was like,
you're like, our plumbing doesn't have this kind of pressure. What is happening?
All over both of us. And then the dog went and ate it all up before we cleaned it. Was
I was getting like a rare night away on my own. So I was like getting updates. I was in a movie. I was getting updates of this like terror that was happening at home. And I came home and Andy and Florence both just looked traumatized. They're like sitting on the couch.
But thanks to the dog, it was already cleaned up, huh?
Oh, God.
Well, I had just, at that point, I had I like, took her in the shower and held her to get it off. And then I like took my clothes off, put new clothes on, put her in her crib. And then I rolled that, after the dog had eaten all that pasta up, I just rolled that carpet up and I put it outside for my husband when he got home. I was like, baby, this is for you. You could figure out what to do with this while you were at the movie or whatever,
At that point, you just have to move. You just have to move at that point because there's no recovering from that.
Yeah.
Danny, what about you?
I mean, I was trying to think of a good one, but the one that comes to mind is also a harrowing night.
We love those.
Spill it, girl.
I'll never forget the time when I had to take Andy to the emergency room because he was having stomach issues, but we had Florence, so I had to drop him off. I went home, put Florence to bed, and then waited for Andy to text me that he was done at the emergency room. While he was at the emergency room, I started to feel ill. I had to wake up Florence, put him in the car to go pick her up. I'm getting sick in the car right before I get in the car. On the way to the emergency room, Andy and I are both I pick him up. We're driving home. We're both sick. Florence also, I think we all have norovirus.
Yeah.
We have one bathroom. And so we're taking, Florence is wide awake, not going to sleep. We're both the sickest we've ever probably felt in our lives, taking turns running between Florence's room and the bathroom to try to entertain her, keep her.
That was cute. I remember I got into the car with the puke bag provided by the hospital, and you were driving because I was on major morphine, and you had thrown up like before you got in the car. Because remember, you ruined the booze. And I was, he was driving, I was holding the puke bag as he was puking, as I was like on the morphine. It was the worst. I've like never been that. I hadn't eaten in like I got meat first, and I hadn't eaten in like 2 days, and I couldn't keep any liquids down. So I like went to the ER to get fluids and stuff. But yeah, it was terrible.
Oh my God. But you know what? You were snatched. Ooh, did you look cute? You were like, oh, I don't know, norovirus. This is cute.
Also, I see a short film in the making of just basic boy humor, and I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the opening of Child's Play or whatever that movie was, where just like the kid gets sick on the ride, which gets the next person sick, which gets the next person sick.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for demeaning yourselves by being on our stupid little podcast. The movie is called The Mattachine Family. It is now out. You can download it. You can buy it. You can rent it on Apple TV and all kinds of streamers. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So my something great this week is TikTok, as usual. There is a creator. Yeah. His name is Ryan Hale. And I don't know if you've seen him yet or not, but he is this probably 24-year-old white guy, very straight, very kind of like backwards baseball cap kind of deal. But he speaks, and he's just like, looks like a normal guy, and he goes like on Omegle and all these like stranger chat platforms. But he speaks like 10 languages, and a lot of them are like Asian languages. So he speaks not only like Cantonese and Mandarin, but he speaks like, and we're talking fluently, Korean and like all these like regional dialects. He speaks Taiwanese. He speaks so many fucking languages. So he goes on these like video chat services, and he'll, pair with somebody from that country, and they'll be talking in English or whatever. And then he will be like, oh yeah, my name is Ryan, and this is what I do, whatever. And then they'll ask a question, and he'll answer in their language. So like, let's say Taiwanese, and they're fucking brains explode. And it is so fun to watch. But my favorite part about it is that it's usually women he's talking to and women his age. And there's this like flirtation back and forth of like them going back and forth between, I don't know, Russian and English or whatever. And these girls are just so enamored. A, he's cute, but B, that he speaks their language fluently. And it is this love story I never thought I needed, but it is so fun to watch these people and me think, oh God, please get together one day with this girl from, rural China or whatever. So by something great, Ryan Hale on TikTok.
That's really awesome. And it also makes me feel really untalented that I could never possibly imagine doing something like that. I'm amazed by people who seem to have these linguistic abilities to just absorb languages, not in a way that actors will say, I just kind of absorb accents wherever I go. So I can't help it. I just start speaking with an English accent all the time. And you're like, oh, Jesus. But anyway, those people are seriously talented. My something great. It's funny that you say this. We are so Gen Z or whatever it is. I have a Snapchat something great.
Oh,
I have been recently snapping with my daughter to basically inject myself in her life because she doesn't want to hug me or even look at me anymore.
Okay.
So now I snap with her a little bit. And, rabbit holes everywhere. I don't really understand, frankly, the difference between Instagram Reels, Snap Reels, and TikTok. Frankly, it's all just little videos that people do. But this one dude I stumbled upon, and I don't know how the algorithm found me. I guess his handle, is SB Mowing.
Oh, and SB Mowing is huge. I love SB Mowing.
Oh, really?
Oh, I watch them on TikTok all the time. Yes.
Oh.
Please keep going.
Okay.
I love SB Mowing.
Okay, well, SB Mowing, it's amazing. And it's absolutely a rabbit hole of just watching this dude go to abandoned houses and do all of their yard work for them. And it's amazing. But what's funny to me, you saying that, one, clearly I don't spend enough time on TikTok. Who does? But he always says, please like and share and whatever, and follow me on Snapchat. Because if you support the work I'm doing, which first of all, he doesn't seem to be asking for money, though it sounds like he's a nonprofit and he needs it. But B, or whatever, he clearly creates his content specifically for Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram, which is a ton of work, but good for him. It's fascinating. I love it.
It's I feel like it pleases the part of my brain that maybe other people, they have those like little sand gardens where they just like kind of zen out and they draw it. It's the same thing. You're just watching at like 10x speed somebody take this like overgrown mess and just make it beautiful. And
it's fantastic.
And he's so smart businessman too. Like he's doing all of this for free, but he's making thousands of dollars off of each of these. So it's a perfect, it's a perfect marriage.
Yeah. So cool. And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge on SB Mowing.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll snap you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.